Morning, everyone. I wanted to record this video to share with you guys what the Lord has done in our testimony on just the whole stage of getting pregnant, being pregnant, what He's taught me through it. I don't know if, I'm sure a lot of you know that James and I got married in August of 2013, and we had trouble having kids. Right after we got married, I was on birth control because I was actually really scared. I'm like, I do not want kids right now. No way. It's way too soon. And so I was on birth control and it was making me really nauseous. I would throw up all the time. And so I decided to maybe switch forms of protection. And at that time, I felt the Lord tugging on my heart to get off of protection altogether. And I was like, no, I don't want to be one of those crazy ladies with like 20 kids and counting. That's just not for me, Lord. But I really just kept feeling that gentle nudge on my heart to do that. And so I took a step of faith and I got off of my birth control and we stopped using protection. And I was really scared, but I didn't get pregnant. So I was like, okay, cool. So after like about a year of that, I started to really want kids. And I was like, well, we haven't been on birth control for like a year, so there must be something wrong with us. We must not be able to get pregnant. So 2 years passed by. We've almost been married. Well, we will be married for 3 years in August. So pretty soon the third year rolls around. Still nothing. So when I got pregnant, it was a miracle and a big blessing, and we were really scared at first and shocked and overjoyed. And we just, were like, wow, God, you're so good. So around that time, I had a friend go through something that was really hard, and she had a blighted ovum pregnancy, and that really I took it really hard. It was really sad for me to watch them go through this, but it also really encouraged my faith to watch them go through it with such peace and joy and trust in the Lord in the midst of everything. But I, on the other hand, got really scared that that same thing would happen to me. So we actually didn't find out I was pregnant until it was like only a month after that happened with our friends that we found out I was pregnant. And so I was like, a little nervous because of what happened to them. I was like, Lord, I really don't want to go through that. And I thought at that point I was probably like 7 weeks along. And my first ultrasound wasn't until like a month or two later because they wait a certain amount of time until they can give you your ultrasound. Because they can't really see the baby as well. So they just want to make sure they can see the baby before you go in. So before that ultrasound appointment, I started getting some sharp pains in like my groin area. And so James and I were like, well, we should probably just go in just to check and be on the safe side. So I went to the ER and the doctor looked at me and, after they ran all the tests, and he said, well, at that point they did the vaginal ultrasound, and he said, well, we don't see a baby. So either two things: the baby has not developed enough, or you're having a blighted ovum pregnancy, which devastated me, obviously, because I had just been through this with my friend. I did not take the news very well. I was really angry with the Lord. I'm like, first them, now us. Why could this happen to us, Lord? And I really did not handle it well at all. And James and I were bawling all night. We thought for sure there was no baby. And so we went home and we just held each other and sobbed so hard. I've never seen that man cry that hard. I've never cried that hard. And I could not even pray because I was so mad at the Lord. And so all I said before I went to bed was, Lord, give me a dream of my baby. Please, that's all I could say. But in my head, I was thinking, a dream that my baby's safe in your arms, Just show me that you're holding my baby, that I can rest, that my baby's with you in heaven. And so I fell asleep that night, and I dreamt of this girl, and she was about 15 years old, and she had long blonde hair with like bright green eyes. And I heard this voice in my dream, and looking back, I know it was the Lord in my dream, and he said, "This is your baby girl." So I woke up and I thought, that was really strange. Why was the girl 15 years old? So we went to do some more tests. They had to see if my levels have gone up or not. And they did. They went up. But I still did not want to get my hopes up, because I've heard your HCG levels can go up even with a blighted ovum pregnancy. And then they just start decreasing slowly after that. So, it's just this long period of waiting. And I was so still upset with the Lord. I could not even pray. I couldn't come to him. So I'd like to say I was like, yay, God, you've got this, but I wasn't. I was like, for sure, we lost the baby, so I had pretty much given up hope. So 2 days after I got my HCG levels tested, we had to go in for another test, and this test was another ultrasound. So I had pretty much convinced myself that we lost a baby, and I had prepared my mind for the worst because I didn't want to experience that heartache again. And James was feeling really sick that day, and I think in his mind too, he didn't think that we would see a baby. But even though the whole time he was like, you have to have faith, like God can do anything. He's a God of miracles, but I think, I don't think he realized like the extent of the testing that day, and he wasn't feeling good. So he just stayed home. And when I was driving over there, my mom was like, you want me to come? And I was like, no, I'll be fine, and she's like, oh, I'm coming. And I'm so glad she did, because she pulled up, we went in, and they first started doing the vaginal ultrasound. And the technician that was in there, she was like, just to let you know, I can't disclose any information to you. We have to wait to send it to the radiologist lab to do, to figure out what's really going on. And that really bummed me out, because I was like, gosh, more waiting. I just want to know, just tell me if there's a baby in there or not, And so she kind of moved the ultrasound stick like a little bit, and I thought I saw something, but I was just like, no, it was just like the yolk sac and nothing. Pretty much that's what it looked like. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't the vaginal ultrasound, that was actually the stomach ultrasound. So then she's like, well, why don't you get changed? I'll step out, and when I come back, we'll do the vaginal ultrasound. And my mom the whole time was like pushing this poor ultrasound tech. Can you please tell us, is that the baby? It was kind of embarrassing. I love you, Mom. It was fun though. So I went, I got changed, came back. She came back in the room and started the test, the vaginal ultrasound. And sure enough, she started moving it, and she moved it, and we saw the yolk sac and a little dot in the yolk sac. And my mom was like, is that the baby? And the ultrasound tech was like, there's your baby. And we just both like started bawling. It was really special. And we were just like holding each other and crying. And then she let us hear the heartbeat, obviously. And she actually gave me this little heart and recorded the heartbeat on the heart to let James hear it. So that was really special. I'm really thankful my mom ended up being there to experience that with me. It was a really, really cool moment. And so that is part 1 of my pregnancy journey so far. Little did I know that God was using that to prepare me and to stretch me and to build my faith for what was to come. So I'll do a second video later on today about when I started bleeding a lot. And that was about 11 weeks.